Thank you. Yes. Hello, my name is John Fetchy. I'm the Partnerships Director at Immerse, and I've recently also become the Chairman of the AIXR Enterprise Board. But I would like to actually take a moment to take you all back to that first moment that you tried virtual reality. When was that? Where was that? Was it at your office, your home? Was it at a conference like this? And what did you see? And when you saw it, or when you took the headset off, did you go, wow? I did. It was about 8 years ago at another conference like this, Learning Technologies. I walked onto a virtual stage, spoke to a virtual audience and made a speech, and I got the wow effect, and I joined that company 3 months later. So why, if I'm having this great recall from VR and I'm getting this wow factor, I hope you got that as well, and I know many more people did, why is it now not already the cornerstone of learning? Well, I think we can acknowledge there are sort of three main issues within the industry, probably in this order: headsets, deployment, content. Headsets, still a little bit on the expensive side, and you're very much locked into their ecosystem. And most of the major players also concentrate on gaming and experience rather than enterprise. With deployment and MDM, it's a hurdle again with these ecosystems, but actually I've seen around the conference today and tomorrow there's a lot of talks going on from some of these MDM companies how to overcome that. And thirdly, content. Few and far between, and often the bespoke content is quite expensive, quite lengthy to put together. And we kept hearing at these conferences that VR was the next big thing. 2016, the first one I went to, it was definitely going to be the big thing in 2016. And it was definitely going to be it in 2017, 18 for sure. And it kept going, 19, 20. So why hasn't its time come? Well, I would suggest that this order is flipped. You all came to the conference today, tomorrow, maybe yesterday, because of the content. Was the content relevant to you? Was it abundant? Was it inspiring? If it was, then the issues that you face with maybe time, cost, travel will very quickly overcome. And I would suggest that just like streaming, when you're doing TV, films, gaming, in VR learning, content should also be king to drive this industry. Immerse have been building virtual reality content now for about 8 years in a variety of sectors: pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, life sciences. We've got a range of clients: GSK, DHL, Shell, BP, Meta, and many more, similar to many content companies like ourselves. So what we wanted to ask ourselves was, is there actually the content out there to drive this industry? Well, we did a market analysis, and we found over 300 companies globally that are building VR training content. And, well, actually, I'm going to be joined on stage by one of those partners that we discovered. And as we looked around, we found that most of these companies were generally quite small companies, between about 5 and 20 people, made up of founders, developer, educationalists, subject matter experts. But crucially, many of them didn't have a commercial arm, and also they were often handcuffed by the other hurdles we've looked at of deployment and particularly platform. And they were building content. So we looked at this, and they were building content that took time and money to put together. Yeah, it started off, this is all bespoke content. But all this content is already out there when you look at the market. So we know that the content is out there. But is the market out there? Well, I would say for large enterprise, it most certainly is. We build, as many of these companies do, often single commissions for large enterprise who want either to test VR or they have a specific business need. But the issue here is that this content, although of a very high quality, more often than not, because of the issues with deployment, because of the time it takes to deploy it, that although they get the wow factor from learners, the next question that often comes is, what else have you got? And more often than not, they have to answer to say, look, it's going to take 3, 6, 9 months to build it and the equivalent costs. Even though these enterprises know how effective VR training is now. So the content is out there, the market is out there, but what we have here very much is a once and done model. When you build that content for that single enterprise, they consume that content, you get the wow effect, but there's nothing else to follow it up. If they want to build additional content, they'll often go to a second content creator. And that second content creator, because he's often a specialist in that particular area. And if they have to do that, yeah, great content gets built again, but it's often built using maybe a different platform. It's going to have a different UX. It's going to have different metrics. So you've already got one piece of content that's siloed, and now you have two. So what I would suggest here is the way to solve this is to build a hub central to it. What you have here immediately is a hub that creates off-the-shelf content. And this off-the-shelf content drives down the cost of the content, therefore driving up the demand for content, and will bring in more content creators to the market. You keep driving that cost down, and it brings in a whole new market sector. Suddenly, it's no longer just the domain of large enterprise, but also the domain of medium enterprise. And from that, it expands out. You suddenly have a vast array of content, breadth and depth, which first of all is creating recurring incomes to the content creators, but also offering enterprise, medium and large, a huge assortment now of content. And so here, at the core of this is where I would introduce the Immerse Marketplace. This is the first truly open, meritocratic marketplace. We have already, even though we only launched this week, we have over 100 content titles from about 20 partners. And all the content on here is set by the partners themselves. They've gone from content creators to partners. They set the prices on here. Everyone gets 70% of all the revenues. But there is a catch. Not all content is created absolutely equal. We have content on here that's very ubiquitous, very generic. Gender inclusion that large enterprise may want to roll out to a large percentage of their learner population. We also have forklift training that's going to go to a much smaller learner population. So the partner prices accordingly. When you go into the marketplace, you can then drill down and have a look at the features of each content piece. Now, powering all of this is the Immerse platform. What we have found is that large enterprise, in particular, do not want to purchase content through a headset. They're purchasing at scale with large amounts, and it also is locking them into their ecosystem. The other issue with that is that they can't distribute their content to cohorts of learners, single learners, and there's no metrics for this. So, at the corner of our ecosystem is the Immerse platform, and this is what takes all the weight here. This can integrate with the LMS so that the large enterprise only has a single platform. As we know, most enterprise want to reduce the number of platforms that they're using. They're integrating the content onto here, they're then rolling it out to their learners, rolling it out to their cohorts. And what is absolutely key here, and we found it as a pain point almost accidentally, and what large enterprises are looking for, is this is a one-stop shop for them. They don't want to actually buy content from multiple suppliers. You know, the onboarding process, I'm sure most of the people here have come across this. It's a long process. It can be a painful process. And particularly if you're dealing with lots of smaller enterprises. So we act as that one-stop shop, that single platform, that single point of procurement, those standardized metrics. Another advantage of this is an example we have for a large mining company, is that the content that they already have, and this can be any XR content, whether it's AR, whether it's VR, WebGL, they can actually pull all of that content onto our platform, as well as having access to the marketplace. This large mining company had 50 pieces of content from 7 different content creators that were disparate all over the globe. By putting it all together on our platform, integrating it into the LMS, it can then be distributed to the whole global learning population. And there are many other benefits to the Immerse platform, but actually one of the ones I want to talk to is pretty much the unsexiest one, and not written here. It's called access flows. Access flows, simply, how do you access this content? It's a very simple case when you've got your employee sitting in your office with your email address. But what if that employee is offline or remote? Do you want to actually take that content personalized, or do you need to make it anonymous? What if you've got subcontractors? What if those subcontractors don't have email addresses, don't have phone numbers? We cater within the SDK, which, as Dash sort of mentioned, the Augie Awards is now shortlisted for one of the Augie Awards this evening. We have 20 such access flows built into the SDK that cater for all of these issues. And the key to this is that this allows large enterprise to truly deliver at scale. So this one-stop shop is key for enterprise. They get many features and benefits, but fundamentally, they just want to feed in a single process, a single platform into ourselves. The partners we've put together also have a partner program which bring together several benefits. The obvious ones being the revenues that they can now generate either from the old content that they've previously dusted off and integrated with our SDK onto the platform, or they can start to see where the gaps are now in the marketplace. We've got 100 titles on there, but there's plenty of areas that we're not covering, and they can start to build for them. And obviously the profit margins when you're selling off the shelf as compared to when you're building bespoke are dramatically better. Every partner gets access to our enterprise SDK as well as the platform so that they can host their own content and also demo it to clients. And we take all the heavy lifting when it comes to procurement and info security. So what we get here is benefits on both sides of the flywheel, a true value exchange between the partners and the enterprise, this continual loop where the cost of content goes down, therefore the demand goes up, and it opens new market sectors. Like I say, we've only been open just under a week now, live for a week. And partners are able to set their pricing accordingly. And actually, we now have a range on pricing that you can get VR content off the shelf for as little as $1 a year now. It goes up to thousands of dollars as well, but it now makes it incredibly accessible to all enterprise. Now, there is a lot that goes on in the background to bring these partners on board, and to be honest, we've pushed away as much content as we've taken on. It's very important that we go through a qualification procedure at the beginning. You know, there's simple qualifying out. Is it a game? Is it purely an experience? Is the standard or the frame rate not up to it? We license the partners. We give them the hopefully Augie Award-winning SDK and platform. then once it's integrated, we've got a team of producers that curate the information, have a look at, make sure it meets all the what we call enterprise standard of delivery. Now that means that it's been fully integrated with the SDK, that it's got no core flow bugs, and that it's got standardized metrics for all. And what we found actually from this is one of the benefits is we're uniquely positioned to do this because the platform is probably already the industry-leading platform in VR. We've got a very experienced team. Most of them have been with us for 8 years plus. And now this team, instead of sort of seeing their own content and a bit here and a bit there, we've all now seen a couple of hundred VR training examples, literally over the last few months. And what this has done internally is we're now building certain standards, guidelines and regulations internally from what we've learned, what works in VR training, what doesn't work. And actually, we hope in time this will work, as our community, as a real baseline for setting standards across the industry. So with that, I would like to introduce you to one of our partners, dodsn from Hard Hat.
All right, thank you, John. Really appreciate the kind words, John. For us, we're speaking as a developer, and we've had conversations with a lot of different distributors, and I just want to let you know this is a world-class team, and the care that they take with our content, that means a lot to us. That we know that when we give it to them, they're going to nurture that and help us see success. So a little bit of background about our company. And so we've been around since 2011 as a digital agency, and we've always been delivering custom content to clients. Some of the things that we've done mobile application development, augmented reality, virtual reality, media and video production. And as a small team, we have a team of 11 in Dallas, Texas. And that's worked out okay, but the problem with constantly doing custom work is when the custom work is done, regardless if it's somebody like Exxon or some of these other big clients, when it's over, it's over. And that creates a lot of hurdles for a small team. So some of our hurdles we've had is we came to the decision that doing custom development's great, but what we needed to do is build a library of content. So we got into the VR industry almost by accident. We had a large oil producer, Exxon, come to us and say, hey, listen, this is a big deal for us. We want you guys to bid on this project and put together a prototype, which we ended up winning. And that's great, but when you have these big whales that you're working with, when it's over, what do you do? And so what we decided to do when COVID hit, we had a couple decisions we needed to make. And so when companies pulled back, we thought we would double down and start developing a library of content and start shifting to a SaaS model as software as a service. And so the hurdle is when you're developing off-the-shelf content and you're a developer, you're not really focusing on having a sales team. Well, the way we've always done it is we build something cool, we show it to people, they go, oh, yeah, we definitely want that. But when you're selling off-the-shelf content, you need a sales team. That's not my background. I'm a developer. I've been started doing computer games to getting here. We have a trusted team that we know that they're out there repping our product. Our strength has always been creating content, immersive content, not sales. And we just didn't have the pipeline to reach out to potential partners for our VR content. Everybody who saw it says, hey, this is really good content, but that doesn't matter. There is no build it and they will come. We need people who have the reach to get it in front of the right people who they have the need, they have the money, and they can help integrate it into their processes. And so, I guess it was probably fall that we started entering in a conversation, and we knew we had some needs, and we hear nice things about our content, but to get it in front of somebody, so what do you think? Do you think you can sell this? Like, well, maybe. But we landed our first paid client 3 weeks after signing. And so hats off to the team at Immerse with getting in, not just recognizing our content and say, okay, I know who this is a good fit with. And so it's not just going to be sitting on the platform and just be stagnant. They went and found, it's like, okay, we want to get our product in front of these people. And to have a sale 3 weeks after being on the marketplace was awesome. For us, we have a lot more visibility and a broader client base. Some of the relationships that Immerse has, there's no way that I would be able to walk in as a small company of 11 people and get a meeting with them. We can focus on what we do best, and as in development, we work on our content and we allow them to do what they do best. And so the other thing that is really important with us is having the platform tools and features, having access to it, because when we talk to customers, I said, yeah, I really wish we had analytics. I really wish that could tie into our LMS. And through this team, we're able to do that. And so it's not just we're building simulations. We have access to tools that we would never be able to have. So that's all I have. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Very generous. So, thank you very much, Jeff. I mean, Jeff's been a great partner of ours already, but the point being is that we're already making significant revenues for partners that are coming on board here and making them very quickly for them. The key to this is if we put content first, content king, at the center of this industry, we're going to overcome the hurdles that are there. We need to drive down the cost. This will open up new markets. And this is very much leads to a change in the model, going from a client-led market that commission our content to actually a market-driven model. And with this, I'd really like that we can all sustain that wow factor for learners and create that one-stop shop for partners and for enterprises. Thank you.